Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, The Cutest Little Thing, Upcycle with Andrea. I am Andrea, and I thank you so much for hopping on to watch this video. If you enjoy it, I hope that you will consider giving me a like and even share it out with a friend who you think will like it too. If you love thrift flips and upcycling and home decor, DIYs, and all of that, I hope that you will hit that notifications bell where you don't miss any future videos. For this project, we are making little fall primitive feed sacks and little cloth pumpkins. And to do that, I simply tricked my inkjet printer into printing on fabric. I use muslin cloth and I cut my cloth to fit a standard piece of printer paper that will feed through your printer. And then you just iron on the fabric to a piece of freezer paper, and that freezer paper must also be cut to fit that standard piece of printer paper, and it just holds that fabric in place and keeps it sturdy as it feeds through the printer. So I did this process. I purchased these images off of an Etsy shop, and I did the process to print them onto my fabric. Now I'm just aligning the front of it, the piece that I printed, and then I cut another piece of fabric the same size and shape, so that will be the back of my feed sack. I turn it outside in, and I just simply go around with my hot glue and get those edges really well. You want to make sure you get them all the way so you don't have any holes. And then I take the edge of my scissors and just kind of wipe down just to get that glue flat so it won't be a big lump of hot glue, and so I also don't burn my fingers. I also have a full tutorial of how to print on your fabric with your inkjet printer. I have a full tutorial. It's my Christmas in July where we did little Christmas feed sacks. And if you can't find that video, just comment and let me know, and I will try to link that video in the description. Now look how cute these are already looking. I leave the top of my feed sack open so that I can stuff it. First, I put in dried beans, and you can use any kind of dried beans that you want. I normally purchase this big bulk pack of dried pinto beans from Walmart. It's only like $6 and some change. I'm not exactly sure the exact price. I also use paper shred, and I make my own paper shred, and I stuff that in there. And you can use like cotton filler, like pillow cotton if you want, but me personally, I only use a little bit of that. I do like to use a little bit, but not too much, because I don't want this to be like a pillow. I want it to feel more like a feed sack, like it has feed in it, or in this case, pumpkin seeds inside. And I just kind of feel it and get it kind of, as full as I want. And you can really, put as much beans as you want, paper shred, and just kind of make it your own. And then I hot glue the top to close up my little feed sack. And I just put that hot glue right in on the inside edge, and that's how I glue mine. Now, if you want the top to look like that bottom does, how the bottom was like tucked and neat, and just kind of folded on those edges, you can just kind of fold in that top. Just put your fingers on each side and kind of fold that in, and then put your hot glue and close it up that way. But I like to just close it like I did here. To me, it just makes it look more like a feed sack to be, to be glued like that. Then you can just take your fingernail and fray those edges, give it, that vintage look. And these are just super cute to add to your 3-tiered trays, your centerpieces on your table, or just a little shelf sitter with some of your other fall decor. Now here's another way you can make these super cute. So you just do that same technique with your printer, printing your, your desired image onto your muslin cloth. And guys, make sure you get muslin cloth. I will link that in the description as well. It is a very thin fabric. It's best not to try to use drop cloth or anything like that because it's just too thick to feed through that printer, and I just don't think that that would work. So same thing here, just your dried beans and your paper shred, maybe a little bit of pillow stuffing. And now, instead of gluing that entire top, making our sack, I have here just a little branch I went and got out of my yard, and I cut it into the size and shape of a little pumpkin stem. And I just take that pumpkin stem and I put it right in the middle. Well, first I'm just gluing that edge down on that left side, and then I place my pumpkin stem in the middle and just position it where it needs to be, and put just a dab of hot glue on that front side and that back side to hold that little pumpkin stem in place, and then finish sealing it up on the other side with hot glue right on that inside edge, and just mash it down carefully. And then we have a cute little fabric pumpkin, guys. Look how cute that is. And now to embellish those pumpkins, I'm just taking some Spanish moss and hot gluing it on the top, just all around that little pumpkin stem. And you could use reindeer moss for this. You could use raffia. There are so many different ways that you could do these. I just think that they are the cutest little thing. And then I just take some ribbon strips that I had, and I just do the crisscross method with those ribbon strips. I have some, I also have like some burlap pieces. And then I just tie all of those pieces together with a piece of jute string, and just to double knot that to secure it. And just put a dollop of hot glue right there and place that little bow right there on the base of that stem. And I have these rusty stars and rusty bells. And I did them all different ways, but for this one, I put the little rusty bell on there. How cute is that, you guys? I just love these little pumpkin sitters. For this project, I have these 2 kitchen strainers that I thrifted, and they've been in my stash a while. So I'm going to go with the color Truffle. And I also have some of the color Mineral and some clear wax over in this plate that I was using in a previous project. So I'm just going to sort of mix those paint colors together and just dab along the rim of these strainers and also the mesh part of them. And I end up dabbing on one coat, letting that dry, and then doing another coat. And then also a little bit of touch up at the end. And I'm not worrying about the handle, because what we're going to do with these, you're not going to see the handle in the end. So I'm just dabbing along the rim and the mesh part. Now I'm going to fill both of these. I just have some things on hand here, some little pumpkins, some leaves, some berries, pine cones, and even these cute little acorns and some cinnamon sticks. And I'm just going to just fill these with each even amounts of these little items, just kind of arranging them how I want them to be seen on both sides. And these were just little odd and end pieces that I had from doing projects and crafts and things. And just cutting those berries and just putting even amounts of everything on each side. Using my wire cutters to trim those stems. And now I'm just going to join these two together. So I line them up and I line those little pieces sticking out. I'm not really sure what purpose those serve, but I'm putting the jute through those, just lining up the strainers. And I just tie that jute rope in a double knot just to hold and reinforce and keep those steady and stable. I cut off the excess string and I put a little dab of hot glue just to be sure that doesn't come untied. There was a little stem sticking out and I just cut that off. And now I'm doing the other side the exact same way, just sticking that jute through there, giving it a tie, a double knot, just to hold that in place, and then cut off the excess string. Now for my handles, I get those lined up with each other really well, just making sure everything's even. And then I just put in some hot glue all along in between those handles, and I just press and hold down to give that glue time to dry, and just so all of that will be held in place. Now we're going to wrap our handle. I have some burlap and I also have some little pieces of fabric I had in my stash. And first I'm just taking that burlap, and it's a burlap strip that I cut, and I'm just simply wrapping it around that handle and putting a little dab of hot glue as I go just to hold it. And once one piece runs out, I'll just start running another piece. And I'm just kind of wrapping it in a diagonal position. And I just wrap that all the way up to the top of those handles. Now I go in with my little fabric strips that I had, and I just start at the base and I just do the same technique, just using my hot glue to hold and just wrapping those. And then I skip a little section where that burlap will be exposed. It's sort of like making stripes, I guess you could say. And just the different variations with the burlap and then the little fabric. So I did the two sections, and then I just kind of wrapped the top with that piece of fabric. And then I made a cute little ribbon strip bow with burlap and that same matching fabric. Tied that with jute string and double knot to hold it in place. And with these ribbon strip bows, I just cut my ribbons and fabrics into little strips, and then I just crisscross them over each other, arranging them how I want. and then I just tie those with jute string. I thought about adding that sunflower, but I couldn't quite get it, positioned how I thought it would look good. So I hot glued that bow down at the base right there. And then I just had some of those little berries left over, and I just hot glued those in the center, position those and get those hot glued down. And I was going to put that little sunflower on one side or the other, but I just weren't quite sure about it. Let me know in the comments if you think I should add the sunflower, and if you do, where should I add it? I just thought it was just a tad bit too big. If it had been just a little bit smaller, I think it would have been super cute. I also made this little tag. I had this image I had purchased from Etsy, and I printed that and cut it to fit my cardboard tags. I get those cardboard tags off of Amazon, and I just Mod Podged that image onto that tag. And guys, look how cute this turned out. I just absolutely love it. I had to touch up the antique wax on the rim just from moving it around, and I was impatient and I didn't give it enough drying time. But overall, I just love how this turned out. Let me know what you think. Okay guys, for our last project, I have these foam pumpkins. I've had them in my stash, and I also thrifted this yarn type material for $1.98, and I saw on there was a tag. It was regular $9.99, so I really got a good deal with that yarn. So I just want to wrap. I'll probably just do this one pumpkin, the orange pumpkin. I'm just going to start wrapping this pumpkin with the yarn. So I just simply put a dab of hot glue on that top center and just put some glue down on the side and then another shot of glue on the bottom. And I just keep wrapping this pumpkin and continue this process until the entire pumpkin is wrapped in this yarn. I do keep cutting the yarn instead of just wrapping and wrapping over and over without cutting it. I do keep cutting it once I go top to bottom, and that just helps me get it in the direction I want it to go, and it just also helps it, look neater. And there we go. The entire pumpkin is wrapped. Overlapped so now much. I'm taking this jute rope I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut a few sections, and I'm going to again glue from top to bottom. And I'm just going to put, a few lines of this jute rope going down the pumpkin, sort of like the grooves in the pumpkin. And just gluing that with the hot glue. And I have this little wood piece in my stash. I'm going to use it for the stem. So I just cleaned it up, and there where the raw wood was showing, I just took some antique wax and just brushed that over that to blend it in, and the colors would blend and be the same. And then I just hot glued that onto the top of my pumpkin. And look how cute that's looking, guys. Just a really quick, simple thrift flip. I love it. And then, of course, I took some ribbon strips and lace and burlap and made me a cute little bow and added a button in the middle.